Alright people, how we doing? Friday night, I've got the house to myself as per. My wee boy's wee grandpa. I'm sober as a fucking judge. um, I've been thinking about ideas today for another video. But first I want to can I say how can I wee bit shocked am I at the responses, the positive responses I've received since the podcast that I did with Ricky Killeen on his channel Behind the Bars TV, great channel. It was the first UK prison themed channel that I had subscribed to and I'd started kind of watching. I don't know if I explained before how I'd watched it was American ones I was kind of tuned into for some reason. I don't know if it was because I was just jaded with British stuff through being in fucking one prison after another for the age of 15 up to just a few years ago. But I kind of stopped watching a lot of the American stuff, not because of any kind of they weren't good or whatever, just kind of fell away from them. I didn't watch a lot of podcasts anyway. I'd maybe watch like the odd one, but I wasn't like pure in about it. But when I ended up talking to Big Ricky and he asked me to come on and I went on and did the podcast with him, I was quite shocked at the kind of positive responses I've been receiving off people that I don't even know and people who've known me all my life and people who knew me when I was at my worst. It's almost like people have seen a side of me that they didn't know existed, which I think is quite funny because I'm quite a guarded person. I don't show them the real me. I've been like that since I was a kid, just dead. The walls are always up, you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of very encouraged by that, and I honestly thought when I watched the video back I wouldn't have liked it. I thought I would have been like, holy fuck man, why did I do that? Or I look like a pure fool, or I sound like a Ned. But obviously being on a channel where the host isn't Scottish or whatever, I'm not going to speak on that the way I would speak to somebody from my area, obviously. So, because you want people to understand what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? And when I first thought of this TinPailTV, I was only kind of targeting. I wasn't thinking past Scotland because I knew like the majority of people from Scotland would understand me. Do you know what I mean? So, I wasn't intending to kind of reach people across the UK. So, I'm quite I'm quite encouraged by it, and also by the fact that so Sean Atwood, who's kind of right and he's big in podcasts and all this kind of stuff, he ended up I ended up talking to him through Ricky Killeen because he subscribed to Ricky's channel, and he's like he's invited me on his podcast, so I was fucking even more shocked at that, you know. So good things are coming it, and maybe this is different, a different way for me to express criminological stuff rather than writing academic papers. As I think I might have said in my intro video, I think I said it in that, how writing papers for academics is only academics are going to read that. The average guy in the street or in the scheme or in a prison, they're not going to want to read that shit. And as I said myself, I get a sore head sometimes even reading that shit, even my own stuff. So it's good to be able to put this stuff out there in a format that anybody could listen to it, you know. So it's all looking really good. And if I went on Ricky's video, I think on Ricky's podcast, sorry, I think I've had more subs on my channel than in the couple of days than the whole time I was just doing it without even going on that. So it's quite funny. Because obviously, like, I was just doing this to kind of just talk about shit and that, because obviously people kept saying, oh, you've got some stories, you should do this, and I was like, fuck that. But obviously after speaking to, like, asking people's opinion, people whose opinion I value or care about, like, obviously I asked my son, because there is not a fucking snowball's chance in hell that I would have ever have done this if he didn't want me, because obviously people in his school are going to see it and all that shit, so I wouldn't have done it if not for him. And I asked a couple of other people and they're like, you should do it, and you should go in schools, not, but one fucking thing at a time, innit? So, anyway, this video that I'm doing just now, I'm doing it on Low Moss prison, right? So, there was the old Low Moss prison and the new one. The old one was like for petty offending, like guys doing 60 days for fines or like really small sentences, and I had never been in it, but obviously I knew hundreds of people who had, right? And the old one was actually, it was like an old RAF kind of base or something. Like maybe some of the people who are commenting on my stuff now who've done time and that might be able to correct me in this, because obviously I've never been in the old one, so I can't tell you, but I'm sure it was an old that it was built on our like military ground or something, and it was all what you call billets, let's see, dormitories and that. And I've heard it was fucking good for guys getting nipped, know what I mean? As in, fucking, a guy I shared this cell with before I went to the new Low Moss, a boy faker and Hull, some laugh, man. Me and him used to get some fucking laugh in that Bellini, man. Just lying, kill myself laughing at mad stories all night. And he was telling me about the old one. He says there was the bit in between all the beds was called the Gaza Strip, and they were putting guys in doovies and fucking running up and down the section with them, hanging them up in the showers and turning it on just for a laugh. And I'm like, fucking hell, man, I'd have probably have thrived in there just getting a pure laugh, do you know what I mean? Because, like I said in that video with Ricky, it's no the jail that you're in, it's not like, oh, this jail's more dangerous than that jail, it's who's all in that jail at the same time, because some people have chemistry and it's obviously it can be bad chemistry, do you know, or whatever. So excuse me for yawning, man. Oh fucking hell. I was at a class today, man. I've been at classes all week. I'm a bit foxy, like exercise classes. So usually getting tired about this time, but anyway. So as I says, I wasn't in the old Low Moss, but I remember the boy. So when I went to do my recall in 2011, right, I got recalled for breach of the peace, right, arguing with fucking a shopkeeper, right, fucking pure nonsense, man. And I went to Berlin to start with. So I'm in Berlin, dubbed up with this boy for Cran Hill. I remember him telling me there was this boy who I knew, he knew, and he had fucking cut a hole in the fence, right, to escape from Low Moss, because it was a chain link fence. It wasn't these big metal ones that you see round, like fucking, like the fences round Shots or Low Moss or whatever, even like the old Shots, the big fence, right, because now it's got a wall on it and then the fences, it didn't have the wall before, and it was just a standard chain link fence. He cut a fucking hole in it and ran out to escape, but he ran the wrong way and end up in a fucking field or something. See the way he was telling me, I was in stitches, man. So when I was in Berlin, I went to Berlin in about August 2011. Got my recall sent to me. Got shipped to. So they were just opening Low Moss at the time, and I think I'd said before about how my son was actually born 2 weeks after I went into Bologna. Fucking, that was a moment and a half, man. And then start of 2012, my young cousin had been murdered in the Gorbals. Fucking hell. Oh. And the boy who done it came into Bologna. It was A-Hall, right? He was on the third flat, I was on the top flat. He didn't know I was there, obviously, but I explained all this in another video, the one I did about shots, I think, right? So, start of 2012, went to Low Moss, the new one that's been built, and it was all kind of, it started halfway, the food and all that, fucking hell. The food and all that was like really good because the jail hadn't filled up yet, so they weren't cooking for as many people. But after a while, like everything starts falling to fuck. Everything's turning to shit. You know, brand new jail and conditions. I could eat your dinner off the floor, but still all the same nutters, you know. And they were shipping buses in for every fucking where to go in here. And tell you a funny story. So when I first went there, I get put on the bottom flat, so there was B section, C section and D section. Now B and C section were mainstream sections, but it was all like kinda, see, like quieter guys and maybe guys that hadn't been in before and all that kinda shit. Whereas up the stair and that, it was all kinda just randoms and maybe guys kicking off, whatever. And I remember the first couple of days I was there, somebody get seriously done. The boy had to get done in an room for Pullman. He get fucking slashed to fuck in his Peter, right, in his cell. The boy who done it heard all about him but don't know the boy. So the D section on the bottom flat was called the PIP section, positive impact prisoner program or some shit, right? Like, it was a fucking jail experiment, basically. Like, guys that was just in off the street and getting sentences, and they're trying to like mentor them so that they don't come back. I wonder how that done, if any of them did come back. But we weren't allowed to interact with them. They weren't allowed to interact with us. I think some of them, for what the staff were saying, were quite needy and all that kind of shit. But their first time in jail, you know what I mean? So I imagine some of them would be. I got a job as a passman on the bottom flat. Passman's like fucking cleaning, but I was one lazy bastard. See, like that was just an excuse for me to sit in my cell, watch telly, read books, right? And the funny thing is, right here, when I went to Low Moss, this was the first jail to do this, right? Your power, see your power in your cell, got switched off automatically. So if you were sitting at 1 o'clock in the morning, so see if you were sitting watching the telly, see if you were up at 1 o'clock in the morning, your telly would switch off. You couldn't even make a fucking cup of tea if you wanted, right? There might be people like, ah, well, it's prison shouldn't be easy. Well, prison's no fucking easy, whether you're fucking, your power's left on or no, because as I said in my video with Ricky, that Low Moss probably had the most violence for any other jail I've been in, right? By a fucking long shot. Now, I'm not saying it is the most violent jail. What I'm saying is, in the whole time I've spent in prison, that was, I would say, 100%, that was the most violent. You could smell it in the air, man. You could feel it in the fucking air. It was kicking off every day. There was fights every day, or somebody was getting slashed, scalded. Something was always happening. It was fucking carnage, mate. I remember there was like a kind of incident in the tap flat one day, and it was guys said, oh, got full of, I think they were full of hooch or Valium, fuck knows what, and they all started rolling about with staff, like physically rolling about with them, right? And the full jail, I think, got locked down for a day, or it was 2 days, and it was on the fucking news. I remember phoning my kid's mum, and she was like, is there a riot happening in there? And I was like, well, wouldn't they call it a riot, but aye, there's something going on, aye. So fucking quite Do you know what I mean? It's quite fucking mental. And the funny thing is, like, I've not been in a lot of fights for somebody who's done this long in prison, but see Low Moss, I was in more fights in that one jail than in every other jail I've been in combined. And one of them, so as I says, right, I used to go to education all the time, every day, because I was doing my degree, right, and the staff in there were amazing. Like the teachers, they were kind of, fuck's sake, can't stop yawning, man, do my fucking nothing. The teachers they were sound as fuck. I can't put it any better. Like they saw my thirst for like knowledge, and they were bringing me in like, see like literature and print me off fucking reams of research. Come on, it was the same, but Low Moss is where that really kicked off for me. Where I really took my degree seriously. I'd started my degree in shots in 2005, and I think I was just kind of winging it. But seeing I went to Low Moss, it really hurt me. And it was the teachers in there, and I'd actually like kind of wrote about them in some of my academic papers and shit. How much they impacted on me and made an impression on me. Like they'd buy me like one of them used to buy me textbooks. So I was into like reading Russian and all that, believe it or not. And this guy actually, one of them, the guy who bought me the Russian textbooks, he says to me, right, 'cause I actually still talk to him sometimes, and he says when he first seen me, he thought I was this big fucking, this big nutter, this big kind of stoic fucking dodgy cunt, right? And he found out I knew Italian, right? I'd studied Italian for I was like 12 years old, right? I'm getting a bit rusty now because I've not been doing it at all. I've been out nearly over 4 years now, and I've hardly used it. And he used to talk. He's got a villa in Italy, this guy. And see, when he used to go to Italy, he used to bring me back newspapers, Italian newspapers, so as I could practice, I could read shit for like this place in Italy. I've still got this shit, right? He bought me a National Geographic, an Italian copy, and a National Geographic, and I would just circle words I'd never heard of, and all that, brilliant. And he used to speak to me in Italian, right? And I used to answer him in English, right? I always knew what he was saying, but the teachers, the female teachers used to be like no questioning if I actually knew it, but I used to get embarrassed because I felt like on the spot, and I felt like, see, like an actor or something. I was really, really, how do I put it? No shy, but I didn't like talking in Italian in front of people. I just used to feel awkward. So I would always answer this guy in English, and one of the teachers is like, does he actually know Italian? And the teacher was like, ah, his Italian's better than mine, and I've got a house there. It's funny, but one of the funny, no funny stories, but about the time I nearly got blinded in Low Moss, right? As I was saying on Ricky's video. Um, so I was fighting with these three boys, right? I only knew one of them, but because he was faking he's fake like close by where I'm from, right? And he was a wee fucking. So I was selling ecstasy. That's how I got to meet him. I was like 20, 21, and he came for like a really no well-to-do family, but see, compared to mine's, like he was staying in a fucking brown sandstone, right, up and downstairs, basement, so like £250,000 fucking pound house, right. Um, but he was the black sheep, and I used to like stick up for him because like people, he used to do the weirdest things when he was out his fucking nut on that ecstasy and all that, and I would always see, because obviously how much of them he used to buy off me. And I would always be like, and I'm not going to lie, like I did think he was alright. I just thought, we all know what it can be like if you've took drugs, know what I mean? If took, well, too many. And then when I ended up in uh, when I went to do my 16 years, right, I bumped into him somewhere, I can't remember, Addiewell I think it was. And the way he was conducting himself was just getting on my tits, to put it diplomatically. Like, give an example, right? So, he got a parcel in, right? Started like dishing it out. So we were in was it fourth C? Aye, fourth C. In Addiewell, right? Long term hall for dodgy characters. And he got a parcel in, a kit, smack, right? And it was to sell, or he bought it off somebody, I don't fucking know. And nobody paid him, right? So, do you know what he done? See the weakest, it's as if he went through his list of people that owed him money, and the weakest wee timid one, he went and flung boiling water on him. Sums you right up in my book, you know? Just horrible wee fucking rat. Just a horrible boy, man. I just started seeing a right nasty side to him that I'd never kind of picked up on before. I just thought he was just a bit fucking daft. So, when I went to Low Moss, he's ended up in Low Moss at the same time, right? But he was acting pure fucking squirrely because I'd heard he get done with statutory rape, right? He'd like had sex with a fucking 14-year-old when he was like 21, right? And I'd heard about this, like, in through people for the area and all that. And I went to Low Moss and I'd heard he was like, talking about me. And the funny thing is, right, so he was in the same hall as me, but he wasn't in the same level, so I couldn't see him unless I was walking to education one day and I crossed past with him out in the route or something. And he was stoning me, these couple of boys were talking about me, right, in no a nice way, right, as if trying to kind of get people on his side, but he didn't know there was this boy I knew for shots, stoning at the pool table, and he was like, Chris McPherson this, Chris McPherson that, and this boy I know, right, he's for Royston. He's like, fucking Chris McPherson would annihilate you. And he was kind of like, because this wee guy's para as fuck, right? Just paranoid out his nut, takes too many drugs, smokes legal high, all that shit. And he was kind of like, where'd that come from? No, just what I'm saying, you can't be taught, you don't know who the fuck you're standing next to in the jail. So you need to watch what you're saying, you need to be careful, don't you? Keep your cards close to your chest until you know who the fuck you're speaking to. So I just knew this is kicking off with me in this wee arsewipe. And one day there was like a wee airlock, right? Out in the out, so you walk out my hall and there's like a staircase that comes down for all the other flats, but it's closed off. It's not like you can see up or anything. And one day I walked out there and he was standing there and I walked right up to him, that what's happening? See, like, fuck it, basically he knows what I mean by the way I've said that. My presentation's basically saying, say what you've got to fucking say, right? But obviously he's no he's no good with his horns, right? I don't consider myself good with my horns, but I'll fucking, if I think I have to fight, I'm got to fight, ain't I? And he's built like that as well, so he's in. Plus, I have battled him in the community one time, so there's all that, and he just kind of done all this like I never even was there. I was like fucking, but he's dangerous. See if your back's turned, right? Do you know what I mean? So I knew it was only a matter of time for something happened. So I'm walking up to education one day, right? In fact, I tried to book a visit, like on one day, right? It was a Thursday or something, and they said you've got to keep separate. You can't get on that visit. And I'm like, how the fuck have I got to keep separate? And for those of you who don't know, a keep separate is basically somebody, if you have trouble with them or the screws think you've got trouble, there's got to be trouble. You can't be near them because it will kick off, right? Now there's a couple of ways to get that keep separate on the computer. One is you basically go and tell the screws, I can't be near that guy. And the other way is having a fight, right? So if I start fighting with somebody, then you'll be doing as a keep separate, right? Because they've seen you fight, they've split it up. But the other way is to go and tell them. So I went on the phone to my bane's man. I was like, how the fuck can I not get a visit? I've got to keep separate, blah blah blah. So I ends up getting up and saying to the screws, right, check my keep separates. This fool's name's come back, innit? I'm like, what? But he was trying to get moved to the castle, the open jail, so maybe he thought, if he sees me, this is going to ruin his chances, because I wouldn't give a fuck if he was trying to go there. If he started on me, man, I'm just got to need to do what I need to do, innit? And as I said before, like at the start in Low Moss, I was of that attitude, like I was fluctuating between that pro-criminal mindset and desistance, rehabilitation, reform, all this shit, right? So I've got them to lift to keep separate, right? Basically checkmated them into signing the bit of paper, because obviously if he didn't sign it, then it's out. It's like, oh, the jail now, you wouldn't sign that, like, you know what I mean? That's not going to look too good for you. So I'm walking out the hall one day, right? And who walks out in front of me? This fucking Tadger. But he's walking like a crab up the route, right? He's walking like a crab. He's walking sideways, right? But looking at me, he's side-eyeing me, right? And these two, like, younger guys, they were young, a couple of years younger than me. In fact, they were about maybe 24, 25, but I was about 30, right? 31, something like that. And one of them was getting in my face. No, in my face, but he was speaking to me in a an over quite aggressive manner, right? And I just basically, I had my folder under me and I was like, who the fuck are you? And he done that. Don't fucking growl at me. And I've just done that. Both just headed them, man. And that's it. The two of them just ran at us, man, and started swinging punches, right? But I'm just swinging punches at one of them. The other one's fucking connecting with us, right? And then I've lost like one of my foot, right? I came down on one leg, and I've grabbed the one that I headed. I grabbed him and pulled. I sunk my teeth in his thigh, and then pulled his legs away from him. I'm on the ground, I'm punching him, and then the other one runs out, and it was, I can't mind what eye it was. It's right there, boom, see, right in between my eyelid and my eyebrow, right on the edge of my orbital socket, man. Buff, pen in my eye, man. Pissing blood, right? Do you know? So there was the boy that I was actually arguing with, and these two other boys who were for the same area. One of the two ran away, right? And I remember after this, all the screws have came, split it up, all that shit, right? And took me to the surgery. He glued the hole shut in my eye, right? And I had to go to the orderly room the next day, which is where you go if you're fighting. They take your telly off, you fucking whatever, there's punishment. And I remember when I went up to, I had to go, as I say, I had to go and get my eye glued shut, and one of the nurses who glued my eye shut, but she worked in shops when I was there, so I knew her. Can't mind her name, but, and the other nurse, like, I liked her because she's actually quite pretty, and I used, when she found out I knew Spanish, we were always talking about, like, Spanish and fucking Italian, all that shit, right, where she was going on holiday and all. Quite attractive lassie, my type, therefore. And I've got took back to the hall, but I had to go to the orderly room the next day, right, man. I had I had two black eyes, but they weren't down here, they were up here, right, like I had fucking eyeshadow on, right. And I went down the orderly room, and I could hear that wee idiot and the digger shouting out the cell to somebody, and I didn't notice it first, but see the woman who was the governor who was adjudicating the order room that day. She was a screw in the YOs when I was there, right, in Pullman. So she knew me from back then, right? And she played the video, the CCTV video, right? What happened? Because I was denying all knowledge, man. I don't know why. Just as you doing it, and she played it. And see after you see, because I was kind of struggling because there's hundreds of people in this video, and then when you see me head on them, you just see this mad like scuffle. But then you see the camera from a different angle, and then there's the pulling of the leg and all that shit, and then buff, and then you see me chasing this fucking idiot up the route. And then all the screws have came, right? Hundreds of screws have just came. And I can't even remember what happened to me for it. I didn't get any days in the digger for it. But um, I went to I'm not going to lie, I didn't want to go up to education with my eyes like that because the teachers were really close with me and I was really close with them. So what I done was I reported sick and went to the surgery, right? And it was the same nurses that were on, but only one of them was in the room. And she said, but I was just saying, I need to report sick, can I get 2 weeks off, whatever the fuck it was, right? So you just kick back in your cell all day, and she says to me, do you know what we said when you left the room yesterday? And I was like, what? She says, do you know, I think it's pure creepy how calm he was while we glued his eyes shut. And I'm not gonna lie, I was quite taken aback. I didn't think anybody noticed that. Shit, well, things like that, right? On me, at least. And I says, what was creepy about it? And she says, because we knew what you were thinking. And I was like, holy fuck. I was quite taken aback by that. But the boy who this was all about, I think he get moved to shots or something. I read something in the paper, I know he'd fucking try to stab the jail doctor or something. The boy's an absolute mess. Like, I'd spoke to guys who were insulting with him and all, and he was just he's a paranoid wreck, man. He's on every drug gone, and he wasn't like that when I knew him, but do you know what I mean? But jail does things to people. Do you know what I mean? It affects us all. Affects us all that go there. It's not just him, it's me, it's everybody. But it comes out in different ways. We all react on it different ways. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking part of that whole life, innit? But I've never seen him since, and I really wouldn't like to see him again. But and obviously, as I said before in another video, like that other guy I got into fucking arguments with, there was a couple of guys I'd been in fights with, and but it was on a kind of cluster period, like maybe 5 months, something like that. It was all like running about the same time, and it was just a but it's not even just that. The atmosphere in that jail was quite heavy. It was just a heavy atmosphere all the time. Um, you just didn't know when it was going to kick off, know what I mean? There was always fucking shit happening, there was always the politics and all that fucking shit, know what I mean? Just, I tried to keep myself out as best I could and try and live that studying life, but as I says, it was like I was living one life in the hall and another life in the education, you know, so, but the culmination of me getting kicked out of there was in, it was 2015 when that guy had said about how Jav, I made the video about me murdered his fucking Wayne's ma, his wee lassie's ma, I murdered her. So I got sent to Kilmarnock jail where I finished my sentence, and that was a completely different experience. I'll probably maybe talk about that later. I met a lot of good boys in there, and good, like, I met a woman in there who she owns a fucking company down there, and she wrote letters to the Probo of me. She's a great woman, man. Um, but another wee thing I want to say before I go is when that legal high fucking hurt the Jules. I was saying to this professor, I know there's got to be a murder in here, there's got to be a murder, because there was a spike in violence, right? There was violence much happening all the time. And you know what? I read in the paper after I got out, do you know that there was like 3 guys charged with a murder that happened in Low Moss? I don't know if that case has even been held yet, but it's bad fucking days, man. And then you've got Porkett done one after round about that time as well, but it was in Glen. So you're just like, our jails are just fucking getting worse, aren't they, man? No the place to be. So it's not like, I'm not gonna lie, jail was like water off a duck back to me until I had my kid. Now I've got a life now, and I don't know, it's not a life for me anymore, do you know what I mean? Don't mind fucking saying it. I think jail would affect me much worse now that I have a kid. Do you know what I mean? I'm a single dad, know what I mean? So, as I'd said, so I thought I'd just come on and do that, because I've not done a wee video for a while, obviously, because I wanted to do that one with Ricky first, and then see what I could do on, and I just thought I'd just talk about like a certain prison I'd been in, as opposed to talking about a specific case. So I'll let yous go, man, and I'll catch up with yous next time I'm on. I hope yous have a good weekend, a good Friday. Hope yous aren't too mad with it if yous are all on it or whatever. So I'm probably got to go and watch a podcast or something in my bed. So catch yous, take care, right?